Well, these two guys are really set up. The nice thing about these compared to something like this is that these are factored already. This is factorable. And oh, by the way, why don't you consider factoring the bottom and do the same thing that we did over here. Okay, factor the bottom, see which one will go into the top and which one won't. Might save you some time and anguish. These are set up. Start your cancel fest and do what you can. I'll go ahead and say that this answer is 1. Check and see why you think that's the case. But let's go ahead and look a little bit more into something here. That's a divided by. That's something different. The fact that this is a divided by means we need to consider doing something with what follows. This doesn't have to be changed, but if we say divided by a fraction, it's the same thing as saying we're multiplying by the reciprocal. So I would, even though some of you might look at this and say, well, we can just do some other stuff first. Let's not. Let's take this entire thing and move it up. So I've got a 5 times x plus 4. And when you do that, cross it out so that you can see that it's gone. Take this then and move it downstairs. You got an x plus 4 down here. So that's gone. Okay? You've switched this now, and so to say instead of divided by a fraction, we're saying multiply by the reciprocal. Now we're back to our cancel fest here. X plus 4s, they're gone. X minus 8s, they're gone. You now have a 5 on top and a 20 on the bottom. That reduces to 1 over 4. And we're left with this 4 here and that x plus 2 up there. I will say this, that some people will get to here and say, oh, whoa, I almost forgot, I can cancel these. Please don't. As I said earlier, you cannot cancel something top and bottom that's connected by a plus or a minus. Only if it's got parentheses around it like we saw here. So to cancel the x minus 8s, that's just fine. But the x plus 2 needs to remain intact over the 4. There's nothing I can factor out and cancel, so we're left there with that. This one's good to go. That's shaded for no good reason. Change this to a times, move this up, move that down, and do your factoring and stuff. I'll leave that one to you. This one's a little bit insane, so I'll work with this one. I would say if you're dividing by a fraction that's a mess like this, you can move this up and factor in one step, I would suggest. Two numbers that multiply to get 24 and add to get 11. That's 8 and 3. So you can say x plus 8 and then x plus 3. Now that's factored and moved. So cross it out so you don't forget that there's something already done there. I will say this. That's a plus, but that's a minus. So if you've got two numbers that multiply together to get a positive but add to get a negative, they both have to be negative. That will sometimes just help you from the get-go. You look at 18, you think 9 and 2, but 6 and 3 also give you 18, and the 6 and the 3 are what's going to give you your negative 9. So it's an x minus 6 and x minus 3. Those are your factors. Okay, so far nothing can reduce. Two numbers that multiply together to get negative 30, but add together to get negative x. It's an x minus 6 and an x plus 5. And lastly, notice we didn't flip-flop this. The first ones don't flip-flop. The ones that follow the divided by do. Multiply to get 40, add to get 13. That's 8 and 5. X plus 8, x plus 5. Well, there's some x plus 5s that can go away. There's your x plus 8s and your x minus 6. We're left with these guys that were originally flip-flopped. Keep track of the fact that it's an x plus 3 on top and an x minus 3 on the bottom. Don't let the arrows confuse you. That doesn't mean flip-flop your answer. That means we flip-flopped already. This thing, was moved down here, and that's the source of this stuff. The answer should have this on the bottom, and the answer should have that on top, so there's your answer.